How you doing today? My name is Rosa, and today my commodity video project is on unleaded gas. So you got your pricing. So in 2015, the average price of gas was about $2.52, right? In 2020, so far the average price of gas is $2.25. So you can see the price of gas dropped about 25 to 27%, 27 cents in 5 years. The reason for that, the reason for the drop in price has, we'll get into it later, but less people are using gas and they're converting to more different sources of energy. The reason for that is in 2020, we have COVID-19, which less people are driving, more people are working from homes and things like that. Less people are traveling and using, gas for their cars because nobody's driving, everybody's staying home and stuff like that. Another reason for the change is as we get to 2020, more people are starting to exercise, starting to use other sources of transportation, such as walking or using a bike and things like that. So that's another reason that contributed to the decrease in price. So in the past 30 days, the price of gas has dropped from $2.25 down to $2.20. It's not really as much as the dramatic drop, but a reason there is a drop is because as the winter approaches and as it does get colder, you start to see a little more snow. Less people are driving in the winter because of the snow and because it's cold, and there's just less travel because there's less vacation by car during the winter time. And in 2019, the average gas price was $2.69. So if you want to compare the average gas price for 2019 was $2.69, and 2020 so far is $2.25. So you can see how it's dropped tremendously. And like I said before, that's because of the COVID-19 pandemic and not as many people are driving, and that's why those numbers are affected like that, and that's why the crazy drop. You could look at it as a good thing because gas prices are going down, or a bad thing, however you want to look at it, but that's how it is now. So you got your pricing right here. This is a nice little graph. The United States is this darker blue line at the bottom line. Around 2014, gas prices were around $4, $5, and you can see it's kind of just been decreasing just a little bit. 2015 was about $2.50 to $2.70-ish, and it's just been about $3, just steadily $3, and then you can see this year it's just starting to decline a little bit. It started to spike at the end of 2019, and as of this year, 2020, it's just starting to decline. So your common uses for gas. Gas is used in everyday life, whether for your cars, you got to go somewhere, you head to your local gas station, and you fill up your tank, things like that. So it's used for small aircraft vehicles. They also run on gas, things like that. You also have your landscape tools also run on gas, such as your weed whacker, or your lawnmower, or your tractor trailer, things like that. They also run on gas. So those are some of the uses of it. Some of your firms. So this firm produces the most gas. The China Petroleum and Chemical Corporation, also more commonly known as Sinopec. They're now producing 977 billion cubic feet of gas just this year alone. So they're the biggest manufacturer of gas. So you got your imports and your exports. So Mexico imports the most barrels a day at 375,000 barrels of gas per day. 60% of Mexico's power comes from gas. So they rely on 60% of the power coming from gas, and 65% of that comes from the United States, which is not too far from them. This number 60% was a lot higher in the 2000s decade, just because things like solar power energy and electricity wasn't as advanced, so more people relied on gas for their power source. So you got your exports. Russia exports the most gas a day, right? In 2019 alone, Russia exported 217.2 billion cubic meters of gas that year. So Russia's kind of on top right now as far as that. So you got your major events that affected gas production, and gas supply and demand. So you have your COVID-19 pandemic. If you don't know about the COVID-19 pandemic, you already know about the COVID-19 pandemic because it has been crazy past couple months. So the reason it's affected gas is because as of in January, everybody was living their life, traveling, and things like that. As soon as we hit March, less people were traveling because we had a U.S. mandated lockdown, and it was classified as a pandemic, and that was a worldwide thing. So less people were traveling because you weren't really allowed to travel. A lot of stores were closed, so you didn't have no reason to travel to the store. So you had no reason to really jump in your car and start your car and use your gas to get to the store. So you were saving your gas. You didn't have to go to the gas station as much. Things like that. Things like using it for your aircraft carriers. People didn't fly as much because you were mandated to stay home, so you couldn't really travel around the country like that. So you weren't using planes. Nothing with that. In January 2020, there were more than 70,000 flights per day. And then once you got to April, there were less than 25,000 flights a day. So that just shows how less people are traveling. More people are being cautious about the COVID-19 pandemic, which is good, but it's also it's not really good for the gas companies. They lost a lot of money. Businesses are losing a lot of money because of it. And demand for gas hasn't really been there this year in 2020. So in January 20 of this year, Jets consumed 4.3 barrels of gas a day. So they're using 4.3 million barrels of gas every day just to keep going with regular business. In April 2020, that number has drastically dropped to just less than 1 million barrels a day using on gas because, like I said before, less people are traveling and you are mandated to stay home and things like that. So your projections of gas. Where is gas going? Where do I think gas going? How is the supply going to change? How is the demand going to change? How is the stock price going to change? So what do the professionals think and what do I think? So the use of gas for power is becoming less and less common every day because people are resorting on things like solar power, which is better for the environment because it doesn't release as much harsh chemicals into the air. So you'll see people with solar powers on their houses. Use it for your lights, your stove, your overall electricity and your power source for your houses, which is better for the environment. You'll see it on cars and things like that. Then you got your electricity, so that's used in cars and your everyday lawn mowers and things like that. You could just plug it in instead of having to fill up on gas. So the demand for gas isn't really there because you're paying it with your electricity. So despite the pandemic, gas production was set to be an oversupply for this year, 2020 and 2021. So even before this whole coronavirus thing came, we already were set for have an oversupply of gas for this year and next year, 2021. So, and your demand for gas this year is projected to drop anywhere from 4 to 7% because of COVID-19. So that's just where they are with that. So this is a stock chart. So you can see right now the price of the top gas companies, average gas company is at $45.47 as of right now. If you want to buy a share, you can see how it just kind of is declining. It's on the decline. As of last year, around November, December 2019, it was kind of at a high. It was around $60 before the pandemic. It was around $60. You get a share. It's kind of dropped. It dropped all the way down to around $39. And right now it's back up to $45. It'll probably drop. It'll keep fluctuating as you see it just keeps going up and down because of the different rules that the world is putting in because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So me personally, would I buy the stock? It's kind of a tough position because you don't know where this coronavirus is going. It's kind of getting worse as the winter comes. So what I would do is I would buy a few stocks. I would buy a lot of stocks. Because right now the price is low, around $45. It could get down to around $42, $41, $40 and stuff like that. So I would buy there. I would buy low. And as things have to clear up, COVID-19 kind of goes away. Next year, 2021, 2022, you can see the market go back up to around $50 to $60. And if you bought money there, you'll be profitable. You can take that, you can trade it, you can take it, keep it in there, things like that. Then I would personally take it out, get my money, go along with my day, because there's a market for that right there. If you buy at the right time, you sell at the right time. So these are some of the sources I use: Yahoo Finance, government websites, and things like that. And I just want to say thank you for watching my presentation. Hopefully you learned a lot about gas. the imports, the exports, some of the projections, and how COVID-19 has changed the way we look at gas and changed the way we use gas and the supply and demand of gas. Thank you.